Welcome. Slow Flow Sundays. Back in action. You will need a block and a folded blanket today. If you don't have a block, why not? Good Lord, get a block. It's cheap and easy. Like me in my 20s. I can't stop with that joke. I do it every time. I can't even stop. We're going to start seated today. Oh my gosh. And everybody's been oiled. So, comfortable seated position can look different for everybody. I am going to close that door because it's going to slam even if I don't. Comfortable seated position can be straight legs. It can be bent legs. It can be whatever is truly comfortable for you. But we are going to be a little mobile. And of course, if this is in no way comfortable for you because you spend all of your time seated, then you can lay on your back and kind of just roll with it a little bit. I know I have a client who can't sit for very long, but we won't be here long. Okay, so take a moment, set your hands in your lap or on your knees, close your eyes. And we're just going to find ourselves here in this space. Connect to your breath first, noticing the breath coming in and noticing the breath going out. Taking notice of where it sits right now, the rate, whether it feels short or whether it feels rushed. And we're going to think a little bit today about the idea of surrender. So surrendering into your body right now. Understanding that our minds are not our own, and the mind will think, the mind will wander, and that is okay. All we have to do is notice it and choose to come back into the body. So surrender to that. And we're going to start our practice today with a little surrender to gravity. So that's one kind of magical, mystical force among us, right? Gravity, we don't really have a say in that. We can't choose gravity or not gravity. It's part of what we have to deal with all the time in our lives. So what would it feel like to just consciously choose to give yourself over to gravity? So I want you to take a deep inhale, lengthen out through the spine, feel yourself grow nice and tall. And as you exhale, allow yourself to kind of fall over to the right, just giving yourself over to gravity. Inhale, bring it all the way back up. Feel that resistance from gravity. And exhale, surrender to the left. And you can go kind of forward towards your knee a little bit so it's not straight to the side. Inhale to come back up. And exhale to surrender back to the right. Inhale to come back up. Taking long, deep breaths. You can go at your own pace, so you might be going slower or maybe a little faster. Don't go too much faster. And then surrender back to the left. And then maybe we'll just surrender to the front a little bit. Don't fall over. Just notice what it feels like to let gravity pull you down. And then inhale, roll back up. We'll go one more time each side. And then you can let your hands go too if you want to. Your hands can kind of flop around. Inhale, back up through the center. And exhale to the other side. After you do one more time on each side, go back to the center. Inhaling back up. And then take your hands and let them gently rest in your lap. And your eyes can be open or closed. If they were open for your practice, I invite you to close them for the tune in. And just think about how that felt in your body. How does your spine feel? How does your back feel? How did it feel to surrender, to give in, to let go, and let gravity just kind of have you for a second? Although really it has us all the time anyway. But to really tune into what that feels like. Okay, now we're going to lay on our back. kind of give a little bit of a break to the lumbar spine here. So just lay all the way down. Knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. Oh, yeah. Ponytail holders in the worst spot possible. Okay. Whatever. I invite you to move it, by the way. If you have a ponytail in your hair and you're right on it, don't suffer. Just move it. You can move it back when we come back up. So your hands are relaxed. They could be on your belly. They could be on the floor. It doesn't matter. We're going to focus on the pelvis. So inhale, release, relax, open, make space. The diaphragm moves down as you inhale. So you want your belly to be nice and soft so that there's room for the diaphragm to move. As you exhale, pull the low belly in. Let the pubic bone travel up towards the navel just slightly as you kind of take a little bit of pressure underneath that diaphragm to push the air all the way out. You will notice a gentle tilt perhaps in the pelvis and an that's hard to say, an elongation, whatever. Your spine might feel like it gets a little bit longer as you exhale and press that low belly into that place where it's pushing the rest of your exhale out. Yeah. Take your time with this. Inhale, make sure you're soft in the belly, letting all of that space happen. Exhale like a zipper, like you're gathering from the bottom up, pushing the air out. Inhale, soften, relax. Let the pubic bone pull away from the navel so there's lots of room. Exhale, pressing the air out, which will take your lumbar spine down a little bit closer to the floor. It may not connect to the mat completely, and that's okay. Couple more breaths. Awesome. Now just relax. Let go of all of that practice and just tune into how your breath feels. After a little controlled breathing, you might notice that when the breath moves naturally on its own, it feels a little softer, feels a little bit more in tune. I forgot some water. I will be okay. Now we're going to come all the way around to our 4-point stance. So the gentle way is to roll onto your side and sit yourself up. Or you can rock and roll straight up, but I'm going to go from the side. All the way up. And then swing it around so you can come into your 4-point stance. Now, if you would like to, if you have knee issues or discomfort or just bony knees on a hard surface, you can take a little bit of padding underneath your knees. If your wrists are a little uncomfortable, you can also take a little padding under your wrists. You could also take your wrists a little farther apart or a little farther forward, which will also alleviate a little bit of the pressure. So fingers nice and wide, stretching them out. Wrists generally underneath the shoulders, knees generally under the hips. Very nice. Elbow creases turn to face each other. There you go. And inhale, same thing. Soften, release the belly. Feel that space for the diaphragm. And you might notice your spine is an extension when you do that. So exhale, draw the belly in. Navel lifts up towards the spine. Pubic bone creeps its way up towards the navel and takes your spine into alignment. So it's a lot easier to feel in this position. Once you get there, stay there and continue to inhale from this place, keeping that low belly nice and firm. So then you're going to expand through the ribs a lot on your inhale and exhale. You guys look fantastic. Now shifting your weight over to the left hand, we'll slide the right hand out and keep the fingertips on the floor. Pull up through that navel. Shift your weight to the right knee, which you might notice kind of naturally happens anyway, and slide the left leg back. You can curl your toes under here, kind of give it a little press, and you can stay right here and be very happy here. Take your gaze to the edge of the mat. So there's a little bit of a lift of the chin. And if you're feeling really good here and you would like to, inhale, lift the hand, lift the heel. just to in line with the body. You do not have to go. In fact, don't go any higher than that because we're not looking to go into an extension here. Just a little balance practice. Squeezing through the midline will keep you from falling down. Keeping a nice stretch in the spine. Inhale and exhale. One more breath. And exhale, bring it all the way back down. And we're going to take our hips back over our heels and lower the head down to notice how it feels. Now, if child's pose is not your favorite, you can just sit here and just notice how that feels. Notice how the right arm feels. Notice how the lumbar spine feels. And then coming back up to 4-point stance. Inhale. Finding that lengthening out through the spine as you exhale. Draw the belly in. And then we'll shift our weight to the left hand. Slide the weight. Wait, is that what we just did? Right hand, slide the left hand down. I already forgot what we did. How weird is that? How can I not tell the difference? Like I literally cannot even feel it in my body. Okay, I feel it in my legs. It's so weird because usually you can feel almost like the imprint still on your hands of which one was pressing down. You know what I mean? And then slide the right foot back. Give a little press with the heel. And you can stay here. This is your happy place. Or if you'd like to inhale, lift. Another option here would be to just lift the leg or just lift the hand if you want to play around with that if you're not feeling up to lifting both. Deep inhale and exhale. Stretching out through the spine. One more deep inhale. And exhale, bring it back down. And we'll take our hips back over our heels, finding a little child's pose. And again, if child's pose is not where you want to be because it doesn't feel good, sometimes it hurts the neck or the head. Sometimes it's just not comfortable on the hips. You don't have to go there. Just find something that works for you. We are going to do sunbird through child's pose here in a second, but then it's not a long hold. So noticing how the spine feels, how the arms feel. Do you feel balanced out now after doing both sides? Inhaling back into 4-point stance. Exhale, draw the belly in. Lengthen out through the spine. On your next inhale, lift your head, lift your chest. Pelvis doesn't move. Exhale, slide back. Elbows lower, hips lower, forehead lowers. Inhale all the way back up. Pelvis doesn't move. So staying with that alignment. The head and the chest lift, and then the head lowers, and that's it. Inhaling up. This is our sunbird. Exhaling back into child's pose. Keeping the belly firm all the way through. And exhale back down. A couple more rounds, going at your own pace. And on that next one, exhale into child's pose and hold. We're going to hold here for a moment if child's pose is working for you. And you can move your child's pose around. Maybe you want to take your knees farther apart. Maybe you want to bring your hands underneath your forehead. Maybe you want to bring your hands back around by your feet. Maybe you want to grab your block. That's way over there. And you want to put that underneath your head. There's so many options. And notice how the spine feels. Notice how the hips feel. How's the pelvis feeling? How does your breath? And then we're going to come into mountain pose. So inhale, gently coming up. And then standing however you want to get there, as long as you inhale on the way up. And we'll take a moment. Ooh, finding mountain. Even with the windows open, it feels warm in here. No? Maybe it's just me. Hot flash. Just kidding. So first, noticing your knees and then letting them soften. Again, we're going to surrender a little bit here. We're going to hold strong and firm and integrity in our mountain, right? But at the same time, we're surrendering to that feeling of sinking down into the ground, being connected to Mother Earth. Let's take our palms, turn them to face forward, taking a little energy in the fingertips. And find a little bit of a shift in the pubic bone here. So it's pulling up slightly towards the navel, lengthening out through the spine. Lift the sternum just a smidge, and then lengthen out through the crown of the head. Imagine sending an offering into the earth through the bottoms of your feet, a willingness to let go of all that does not serve you, leaving all of your worries and cares in the hands of our great mother. There is literally nothing to worry about. It's such a good feeling. Now on your next inhale, we're going to float our arms straight up to the front, arms overhead. As you exhale, hinge at your hips like you're going into forward fold, but just come down about a third of the way. Soften your knees. Belly firms. Inhale, stand all the way back up. Press out through the heels. Halfway down. Exhale. Soften the knees and abduct the thighs. So you're pressing your legs out away from each other. Inhale, press out through the heels to lift all the way back up. Belly has to stay very firm here. Now we're going to go about 2/3, 3/4, whatever. I'm not going to get out a protractor. Inhale, press out through the heels to come all the way back up. And exhale, heading all the way down. Keep your knees soft. Keep abducting through those thighs. So you're pulling your legs apart. You're making space when you do that. When you get down, you can, so we're going to stay. So if you'd like to grab a block, if that feels a little bit more secure for you, you can rest on a block. Release tension from the neck. There we go. And you can keep your legs nice and soft here on your exhales. As you inhale, press the knees back like you're straightening the legs. It's okay if they don't straighten all the way. And exhale to soften. I invite you to keep the weight in your feet over your toes. And you can release that abduction and just kind of notice what happens when you let go of that press. Inhale to straighten the knees. Exhale to soften, shifting that weight slightly into the toes. Nobody falls down. Inhale, feeling the stretch, and exhale to soften. On your next inhale, reach your arms out to the front. Firm the belly, soften the knees, lengthen through the spine, come all the way up, pressing down through the heels. And exhale, hands float down. Take a moment here and see how that felt. So really tuning into the hamstrings. Tuning into the quads, tuning into that belly, the spine, all the work that we just did. Inhale, float the arms back up. And exhale, we're going to that halfway point. So come all the way down halfway. Bend the knees. Abduct the knees and shift your weight halfway between your heels and your toes. As you exhale, stay here. Inhale, lengthen out through the spine. And we're just holding this halfway point. Exhale here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. See if you can't keep an abduction in the knees. You're pressing the legs apart. You're just opening up your pelvis, making all this space across the lumbar spine. Belly has to stay firm. Next inhale, press out through the heels, lift all the way up. Crunch, yay! Exhale, float the hands down and just soften your gaze. Look down at the ground. Knees stay soft. And let your hands hang heavy here. Feel that energy flow into the fingertips. All that elevation change. Okay, now we're going to step our feet wide-ish. Wide-ish. If you want to turn, since the mats are so weird, or if you guys want to split that center, I don't know. It's up to you. Whatever feels comfortable. Although the hard floor isn't slippery, so you can even use the floor. We're going to turn a toe to face the window and find our warrior two legs. So the heel of the foot that's facing out is lined up with the arch of the other foot. So go ahead and take a look. Make sure everything's lined up. And the hips are open, facing me, yeah. Soft through the shoulders. Feel that little tuck of the pubic bone. Next inhale, soften the front knee. Float the arms up, look. And exhale, bring it back down. Very nice. Inhale into warrior two. And exhale down. So we're keeping the upper body exactly where it is. The only thing that's changing is the knee bends and the arms lift. Noticing what that feels like. Oh yeah. One more time we're going to hold. Inhale into posture. And exhale, soften here. Now look down at your knee and notice where it's at. So my knee is going like way out in front of my big toe. That's not right. It's supposed to be tracking right over the center of your foot. So kind of feel that squeeze. It's going to squeeze along the back of the thigh into the glutes, like you're pulling the knee back and open. And just kind of notice that. Lengthening inhales, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, squeeze the root lock, pelvic floor. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale back down. We're going to stay in this position and take a little pause here. Notice your shoulders, notice the quads, notice the belly and the glutes. And the breath. On your next inhale, floating back up into posture, and we're going to stay. Exhale here. On your next inhale, take your front arm down towards your knee and lift the back arm up. Just reach for the ceiling. Exhale back to warrior two. Legs are going to stay. The only thing that moves is the upper body. Inhale, reach. Exhale back into posture. Noticing how moving slow, continuing at your own pace, and not pressing yourself into some deep side angle can feel very challenging. And your inhale into posture. We'll stay here for just a couple breaths. Exhale here. As you inhale, think about reach for the ceiling. And exhale to soften. Inhale to reach. Exhale to soften. Last one. Exhale to warrior two. Inhale here. And exhale to center. Turn your feet to face forward. Keep your legs wide and close your eyes or just look down. Noticing how everything feels here. Kid went outside without the dog. Heaven forbid. Now we're going to turn the other direction. So lining it up. Heel into arch of the foot. Opening. Notice how this side feels different. So you're going to be tighter in one hip than the other. And just noticing that. Might feel a little bit like you want to strain in that direction. I do. This is my tighter side. It's harder for me to open up. On your next inhale, bend the front knee. Float the arms. Look. And exhale back down. Inhale into posture. And exhaling down. Remembering this upper body, the torso doesn't move. Inhale, bend the knee. Float the arms. And exhale down. Last one we're going to hold. Inhale. And pause here. Exhale, feel the root lock turn on. And then take a look at your knee. That's probably all wonky, mine is. And press it back and open where it's supposed to be. Inhale, lengthen out the spine. Exhale, pull up the pelvic floor. One more time. And exhale back to center. Arms come down. Keep your feet where they are and take a short pause. I was just thinking about how the dog didn't come and hang out with you, but that's because the gate's up. Did you? Okay, good. Well, Richard locked it in place. I can't get it. But my mom needs a shower. We're going to have to take it off. So anyway, now we're going to go back into Warrior Two. Inhale. And be conscious of where your knee goes. So we can continue to feel that wrapping around, that firming of the glute. And that, wrap around is the best way I can think to describe it. You're pressing the knee out and open. Exhaling here. Inhale, bring the front arm down and back arm up. Exhale, back into Warrior Two. Taking it nice and slow. And exhale. Inhale to reach. And exhaling back down. Now we'll hold. Inhale and hold. In the side angle. You're good. And then we're going to hold for 3 breaths. Inhale, reach. Exhale, firm the low belly. That's that root lock pull. Inhale, reach. Last one. And exhale, using root lock to pull you back up into Warrior Two. Inhale here. And exhale back to center. Very nice. Turn the toes to face me. We'll take a short pause. Inhale, float the arms up to the front. Soften the knees. Exhale, third of the way down. Inhale, press it back up, out through the heels. Exhale, halfway down. Belly's firm. Inhale, back up. And you can take a deep bend in your knees if you want to on the way down. 3/4-ish, a little bit past halfway, but not all the way. Inhale to press it back up. And exhale all the way over. Once you get down, on your inhales, you'll straighten the knees. So exhale, soften, relax, let go of your neck. And then inhale, work to straighten the knees. And it's okay if they don't straighten all the way. And it's okay if you want to put a block underneath you for support. Try playing with your weight. See if you can't shift it into your toes. Inhaling to straighten. And exhale to soften it. Last one. On your next inhale, knees stay soft. Reach out in front of you. All the way up. Crunch. And exhale, arms come down. I missed my chiropractor this week since my van broke down. It's all right. Did you see it? The new van. Oh, I know. Andrew named it Angel. No, he's such a sweetheart, and he's so right. So, and I blessed it today. Saged and Reiki'd and everything. It's silver, yeah. I know. You're so funny.
I was on the phone with my mom, so I was like...
Oh, and rushing. Surprising. I understand. Okay, now I want you to take your block, and we're going to set it outside the edge of our foot that we're going to turn the toes. Same thing in Warrior Two pose here. And we're going to go into our balance. This is a totally optional balance. There are ways to work your way up towards it and just kind of feel it out and play with it, okay? Open. Inhale, arms come up, legs are straight. Exhale, we're going to tip forward into our triangle. And just notice how this feels. Keep looking down. Feel that back hip kicking open. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, back over. And hold. Maybe you want to go a little deeper. Inhale, back up. And this time, as you exhale, soften the front knee and reach for the block. You can move the block wherever you want to put it. So you can reach for the block. And then you're going to kick off the back heel. And notice how that feels. Putting all the weight onto the front leg. And then maybe straighten the front leg and lift the back leg. And you can keep your weight onto your block here. Half moon. Woo! Yay! That's fun. Really wobbly today. That's okay. I'm all over the place. And then you can bring it back into your triangle. On your next inhale. And exhale back to center. Very nice. Turn your feet to face forward. And notice how that felt. Really surrendering to gravity on that one. Oh, the air feels good. We'll switch sides. Do a couple rounds of triangle and then reach for the block and lift your toe or lift your heel so you can really feel into that off center, that, balance really. That's what firms up the midsection. Got to balance it. Okay, so that toe is now facing the other direction. Set up just like our warrior two. Arms come out. Inhale. And exhale, take it over. Kicking the back hip out. And we're just going to hold here for a second. Looking down can be a little bit easier. I find it easier for me than looking up at the top hand. On your next inhale, coming all the way back up. And exhale back down. Maybe you go farther down this time, maybe not. Inhale back up. Soften the front knee and a reach for the block. And then lift the back heel. I keep wanting to say toe. Lift up onto the toe. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. And just notice how that feels. And if that feels pretty good and you want to try and play with it, put your weight into the front leg and straighten it out. As you straighten it, the back leg lifts. Ooh, this is my good side, apparently. Oh, God. Okay. Inhale. Exhale back into triangle. And inhale to lift. And exhale to front. Good job. Just playing with it. Noticing how that felt. Noticing from one side to the other. What felt different? Which side felt easier? Inhale, float the hands straight up. This time we're going to exhale down through heart center. Bend the knees. Inhaling straight back up. Exhale back down. Take it slow. Inhaling up. Thinking about this path that your hand's tracing. Exhale, it comes down through the brow, through the head, through the throat, and into the heart. Inhale, sending it back up. Exhale, tracing that line. And we'll hold here for just a few breaths. Inhale. Lengthen the spine. And then inhale up. You can release the hands and exhale, hands come down. Walk your feet together for your pause. And kind of notice how that feels. Like, legs back together again. It's nice. Release the hands. Maybe wiggle the fingers. So you're not holding any tension. And notice what that feels like. Softening in the knees. And now we're going to sit back down. So again, if this is really bad for the lumbar spine, you can lay on your back. That's not quite as fun to feel the surrender. And I always invite you to sit up onto a folded blanket. Really helps to elevate the hip. So we're going to go into our staff pose. Feet are straight out in front. And a little bit of engagement here. So you want your toes reaching for the ceiling. Pull the low belly up. Knees can be soft. You don't want to feel that. If your kneecaps are turned on, release. Release, release. And we're going to inhale here, exhale here for a few breaths. Letting ourselves settle in. Yeah. Exhale, surrender forward. Inhale back up. Exhale, surrender forward. You can move your hands along the floor. Trying to release as much as you can from the arms. Inhale back up. We're not pushing, right, into a stretch. We're just surrendering down. Exhale. The knees are soft, maybe even bent a little bit is good. Inhale, lifting back up. Nice and slow. And exhale, surrender over. And then just stay here. The only thing that should really be terribly turned on is your feet are staying engaged. Other than that, just release. You can grab a block, and if you want, and put it on your knees and rest your head on it if you want. If you want to take it into a little yin restorative thing, but really just feeling that sense of gravity doing the work here. Noticing each vertebrae in the spine, finding space, finding their own distance from the next. Inhale to come back up. We're going to do one leg at a time, just because I think that sounds fun. So bring one foot in and one leg out. And let's do a contact on the legs here to really feel that sense of connection in your body. Make sure your kneecap is released. Inhale, lengthen out through the spine. Exhale, slide the hands down, surrender. Inhale, back up. Nice and slow. And exhale down. I might even be saying it too fast. Take it nice and slow. Inhale back up. And then exhale down. If you can't do this seated, if it's too much strain on the low back, we'll hold on this one. You can do this laying on your back. Just move your legs towards you. And obviously, because if you're laying on your back, you're not moving your back up towards your legs. It's the same action though. Noticing if anything wants to tense. Noticing if anything wants to grip or hold on. If you can invite it to release. And then on your next inhale, slide your hands up your leg. Activating through all those meridians. And pause. And we'll switch sides. Take a moment after you switch sides to notice the difference. How does that feel? Where's the pressure at? And then contact. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, slide it down. We're here for 3 breaths. Take it nice and slow, even if I say it too fast. Inhale, bringing it back up. Lengthen out through the spine. Exhale, slide down. Feel your hands on your leg. Feel into your leg where your hand's touching. Inhaling back up, and then we'll hold on the next one. Exhale down. Feeling that release. Again, option to use a block under your head if you want to let that go, or just feel the gravity. On your next inhale, lengthening back up. And exhale, relax. Close your eyes. Notice how all that feels. Notice maybe you can feel in your hands where your hands were touching your legs, or on your legs where your hands were connecting. And then we're going to lay back down on our backs. Bend your knees. We're going to start with Apanasana, so you can bring your knees up towards your chest. And for the first few breaths, release through the belly. Inhale, open, make space. Exhale, firm that belly. Feel the pubic bone lift. Bring your knees in closer to your chest. Maybe they don't move. That's okay too. But just staying in this position, you could take space. Knees apart, knees wide, and hands on the outside edges of your knees feels nice too. So play with it. Find what feels good for you. And after a few breaths of just going straight in this plane, then you can start to rock side to side. Thinking about the sacrum. So how can you target your sacrum here? So going back and forth, right across the pelvis. And then maybe shifting your hips a little bit to take it up a little bit higher. Across the spine, across the mid-back. And then maybe bringing your shoulders into it, rocking a little bit deeper. Rocking and rolling. Don't fall over. Or do. That's fine. Just come back up. We can be a little playful. Surrender. Okay. And then come back to center. Set your feet down. We'll take a short pause. And then we're going to bring the right knee up. And you can keep the left leg bent, or you can straighten it all the way. And we're just going to let that left hand guide the right knee across the body. Keep the right shoulder contacting the mat. And you can just let your right foot can rest on your left knee. You can grab a prop here and use a block underneath your knee if you want to rest on that. That can be helpful to kind of stay into the twist without too much strain. And then we're going to take the right arm and extend it away from the body. Palm faces down. And then maybe turn the head and look over towards the right. If not, that's okay too. Just be with where you're at. If your neck isn't doing that, then don't do that. Work towards that feeling of surrender into the twist. Allowing the spine and the body that space. Think about bringing the energy out of the organs, squeezing them, twisting them, releasing. And then on an inhale, bring yourself back up to center. Bringing both knees up first, and then take the right leg down. If you need to move your props, you could do that. And right hand will guide the left knee across. And again, I just lay my left foot right there on top of my right knee. If that's not available to you, that's okay too. Maybe use a block. Taking the left arm out from the shoulder. Palm faces down. And if it's okay for your neck, turning and looking to the left. Surrender. Release. Acknowledge the ringing out through the organs. The spine getting the stretch. And then on an inhale, gently bring it back to center. Both knees come up. And take a couple of Appanasanas. Inhale, knees away. Exhale, knees draw closer. Knees apart or knees together or both. Sometimes it's nice as you inhale to bring your knees closer together. Exhale, knees come apart. Make space as the belly firms. Okay, set your feet back down and take a little pause here. Notice how the spine feels. Notice where the spine sits on the mat now. It might sit a little bit differently than it did at the start of practice. And now grab your folded blanket. And we're going to inhale, press and lift the hips. Slide the folded blanket right up underneath the pelvis and lay your hips down on it. So sometimes we use a block here for this. We're just going to do legs up the wall. And it's optional to even have the blanket. You don't even have to do it. Hands are down by your side, palms are facing down, and gently bring your feet up towards the ceiling. You can straighten your knees, you can bend your knees, whatever feels good. Now, another option here for this, if you're at home, is to use a chair. Can you see it on the? I think you can. I left the chair close so I could show this option. If it's really hard to get your feet straight up, you could just set your feet up on a chair like this and just kind of chill out here. It's kind of a more relaxed way to do it. And if you're watching at home, obviously you can stay in this position for, a good 10 minutes. It's really good for you to do that. I know that may sound crazy. People are like, 10 damn minutes with my legs in the air. What are you talking about? No, I'm serious. We're just going to stay here for a couple minutes. And you can be still, or you can find some movement here. Maybe you want to play with your feet and your ankles, stretching them out, making circles, flex and point. Make sure you're even on both sides. So if you go circles, go both directions. Might want to play with rotation with the hips, turning the toes to face out, medial rotation. Lateral rotation. Trying to be fancy and I messed it up. Medial is toes pointing in. Maybe you want to bend your knees and then straighten them. Maybe you want to find a little scissor where one foot comes closer and one farther away, or feet come apart slightly and then come back together. I wouldn't go too far. We're not trying to do an adductor workout, but just a little bit to play with that. And you'll start to notice after you lay here for a while that your feet are maybe changing color, starting to feel tingly. And at any point it starts to feel uncomfortable, obviously bring your feet down. We're just going to do about 30 more seconds. And then start to bend your knees in towards your chest and set your feet back down. Press and lift your hips, remove the blanket, and then bring your knees back up to your chest. And when you do that, just do whatever feels good. We're going to really kind of prepare the spine for Shavasana. So rolling around might feel good here. Make sure you go both directions if you're doing circles. Maybe just going back and forth across the spine. Maybe you want to grab your feet like a baby. That's kind of the perfect song for this. That was good timing. And then after you feel like your spine is warm and ready, you can find your position for Shavasana and straighten your legs out, turn your palms to face up for beginning. You can always take a nice cushion and prop your knees up as well. Or if you need to use your folded blanket, maybe up under your neck, that's fine too. Don't find too much flexion in the body as we want to open ourselves up. But if I know for me, I can't lay flat. I have to have my knees bent. I'm going to sit, stay laying down. And I am going to change the music, even though that was perfect for rolling around. It's not for Shavasana. Just starting to feel yourself surrendering into the mat, into the floor beneath you. Noticing as each joint, muscle, body part lets go and softens. Such an important part of our practice. There's this sense of earning Shavasana, earning the rest. But it's also just that rest is as important, if not more important, than work. When we don't make time for it or we skip it, the body and the universe will find a way to force you into that practice anyway. So just take your Shavasana. And now from wherever you are, bend your elbows and bring your hands to rest up towards the top of your head. You can lay them on top, like on the top of your head, or just place your hands up behind you, above your head. If this is really hard on your shoulders, you can come out a little bit of a ways. It's fine too. And we're going to imagine beautiful light coming in right there through the top of the head. And then bring your hands, palms in over your eyes. Taking a few breaths here, noticing how this feels, and imagine that beautiful light coming right in through your brow. Surrendering. And then bringing your hands down to your neck. You can either cup your hands over the front of your neck, or you can take one hand over the front and one hand over the back. It depends on where you're at in your position and what feels right for you. Picturing that beautiful light entering in right into your neck. Whether it comes through you from your hands, whether it comes from the top down, maybe it comes from the earth up into you from the back. Bringing your hands down to rest over the top of your chest, like right under your collarbones, one hand on each side. Imagining your lungs filling with that light. And then bringing one hand over the center of your chest, right over your heart, and one hand right over your navel. Sending that light through both places. And then bring your hands down over your low belly, below your navel. Your fingertips will point down towards your pubic bone. Your thumbs may find each other, the tips touching, creating almost like a little triangle pointing down. And relax the arms. Couple of breaths, allowing the light to travel through you. Then release your hands, turn your palms to face open on the mat beside you. In that demonstration of complete trust and surrender, knowing you are completely supported, we'll just take a couple minutes here to witness the breath, watching the thoughts go by like clouds in the sky. Listen to the music and the sounds in the environment. And beginning to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take your time, bringing yourself back. Maintaining that connection to that light that runs through your body. Maybe starting to stretch. And if it feels good and you want to roll onto your side, you can do that. Not necessary. You can stay on your back for a little while. Imagine that you just slathered a bunch of yoga all over you and you're letting it soak in. Through the physical body, through all of your tissue layers, into your waters, into your jellies. And then when you feel ready, on an inhale, gently bringing yourself up to a seated position. taking a moment to honor the concept of surrender, knowing that we really don't have much say in anything. And it just feels better to allow, be with the breath, and trust that we are fully supported. Let's take a deep inhale and exhale completely. Namaste. Literally, like, I've just had to realize I don't know why I bother making plans in my life. Nothing ever goes according to whatever I thought was going to happen. So, it's a good lesson. Thank you for coming. I'll see you tomorrow morning.